Hello everybody. Imagine there are two people who are selling tomatoes on the street. One is Pavan, but the other one is Kashyap. Pavan is selling tomatoes worth of 4,000 rupees every single day. And Kashyap is selling tomatoes worth of 80,000 rupees every single day. Now, take a step back and see whose boss would be much happier about the performance of these individuals. Keep all the other factors aside for a second. Of course, Kashyap's boss is much more happier because he's selling more tomatoes. The revenue per employee is higher in case of Kashyap, and the revenue per employee for Pavan is little lower. Now, why am I saying this? Because when you are trying to get into a potential company, evaluate what is the average revenue per employee. Now, I'm giving you a few numbers around what is the average revenue per employee in a few companies. The first one being Hindustan Unilever Limited, the parent company of Surf Excel. The average revenue per employee there is 2.85 crores. In case of Oyo is 33 lakhs. For Marriot is 1 crore. In case of Aakash, before Byju's acquired Aakash, then the number was 12,50,000 per employee. And finally, Byju's, it is 3 lakh rupees per employee. You compare them within the same industry, across industries, but the point is very, very clear. In some places, the number of employees is probably a little more than what the companies would love to actually have. They probably recruited a lot more people due to the pandemic, due to the boom, due to the growth, with the belief that they will grow at a much stronger growth rate, whatever. But you can see that the contribution at an employee level is pretty low. Now, that could be one of the reasons why these guys are resorting to layoffs. Whether it is Byju's or whether it is Oyo, you can see the average numbers are lower for these guys compared to their peers. Now, what does this mean again? Please understand that before you go ahead and join a company, look at this metric. It is very easy to compute this metric. These numbers, the total number of employees in a company and the total revenues, you can ask the interviewer if you don't find these numbers on Google. And just do this single number math. I'm not saying that base your entire decision just based on this number, but this number could be a good starting point. Now, there are a few other metrics, but before we jump into those metrics, a quick request, please go ahead, share this video with your friends, family, because a lot of people take in that job, whichever company is paying probably 10% more salary, 20% more salary, but a company which is not in a good position right now and trying to bring on board a lot more employees and improve their position, it might not be in a good situation. The stress levels might be very high, and if you want to quit that job in 1 month or 2 months or even 6 months, it's just that does not bring any kind of stability onto your resume. Think about what are all the metrics that you need to evaluate before deciding on whether to join a company versus not. The second metric that I would highlight today is, are you joining a cost center or are you joining a profit center? Cost center typically are functions like, let's say, HR, human resources function. Well, I'm not the one who decided it. That's how the business world defines HR, or that's how the business world defines even research teams. Because even if you cut down that division, your overall revenues theoretically would not be impacted. And that's the reason why a few months back when Amazon was laying off a lot of employees, one of the first places it looked into was HR people. So a company always prioritizes its revenue center. A company always tries to cut down people from the cost center at the first opportunity or at the first sign of distress. So if you are joining, let's say, a HR team or a research team, try to join a much more stable company. A startup might not be the right place. The third metric I would also highlight is, if a company is going through that valuation struggle, that might give you a very good indication of whether you should join that company versus not. Now, why do I say that? Because a lot of these companies, for example, Byju's, their valuation dropped from $22 billion to $5.5 billion right now. It's almost a 60 to 70% decline. The whole objective of the investors was, this is a tech-first company. I will go ahead and utilize this tech to scale to the next level. But what happened? The digital technology revolution did not change radically our behaviors. We still want to go and sit in that offline coaching center. We don't want to go and take that online class. That's the reason why Byju's has acquired Aakash, the offline coaching centers for IIT. And hence, these guys, the investors who invested in these kind of companies in 2020, 2021, when there was a lot of money and when there was also pandemic, which they estimated that would change the entire people behavior forever, and when they did not happen, their valuations started going down. And for that valuations to be justified, their investor teams will put in a lot of pressure, the CEO would be putting a lot of pressure, and hence the stress levels will keep coming down. So if the valuation of a company has come down recently, please basically consider it as a red signal before you go ahead and join that. The fourth and the most important metric that I would say is please talk to people and understand if the way in which they are selling is aggressive, is little more promotional, or if they are doing it the right way. For example, think about how Surf Excel, HUL is selling their products versus how Byju is selling its products. Look at HUL from early 2000s. They have adopted something called as Project Shakti. And what does that mean? They have onboarded close to 1,60,000 women from rural areas. And these guys have been coached about all the products of HUL, including products like Surf Excel. And then they go ahead and sell these products. When there was not even toilets in these rural areas, they were able to sell even fragments. Right? So that is the level at which HUL was operating. It took a lot of time. Now, a lot of these startups do not have that kind of time. They are running behind that crazy valuation and they want to jump into that, hey, I am showing that growth to my investor, so I'll add 50,000, 60,000 employees and I'll start making those phone calls again and again. Just look at the reviews of the companies, how they are selling to their customers. What is the customer saying about that company? That reveals a lot about the culture, and this is one important thing that you need to check before you go ahead and join a particular company versus not. Now you might tell me, hey Pavan, why are you telling all of this? Because I have noticed people joining companies, getting stressed out, not being in a comfortable position, or even getting laid off, and all of these things happening within 2 to 6 months, and it is just not creating or not just reflecting the stability of an individual in their resume, or their overall performance itself is not reflected accurately. Please think about it twice and do share this video with your friends and family so that somebody in your network could benefit from this. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.